Alright, so now let's work on the hair. So that will be pretty fun to work on. She's going to be blonde, because why not? So let's get out a yellow. A golden yellow. Let's take out our mango. And then let's take out our harvest gold, our light brown, our tan, and where else? This is peach. I don't need that. So just these colors will do. So it's sort of a mix between the skin tones and the hair colors. So this is what you have. Once again, it's yellow, golden yellow, mango, light brown, harvest gold, and tan. So feel free to use those, and let's just get started. So I'm going to color everything. Let me zoom out so you can see. I'm going to color everything with a yellow first. And that's just to, but first let me actually mark out my highlights. So using the yellow, I'm going to mark out areas like the highlights, kind of drawing some zigzag lines, varying the shapes in between. So notice how I'm kind of making small triangles and then large ones and then small again. So don't make them all the same size, make some different and make some wider than usual. Just going to be putting some along here as well. And because it's light, I'll be able to see it, but it's not going to distract from everything else. So once you're done with those, then what you can do is you can finally just start applying a little bit of color just lightly using the yellow and avoiding the highlights area. So notice that once I color and I leave the whites out, it becomes a lot more, you can see the white a lot more now. Let's go ahead and once again just keep coloring. And I'm just coloring everything with an even pressure. Make sure you color the eyebrows yellow as well, because if you're blonde, you'll have blonde eyebrows and not black eyebrows. Although you can use a little bit of brown eyebrows as well if you want. In fact, a lot of people color their eyebrows a little bit darker than their hair color, just to make them pop out a little bit more. So notice I'm coloring everywhere except my highlights. And that gives a nice kind of boundary. There. So far so good. You're not done yet though, because a lot of people at this point stop here because they're like, okay, I have the highlights and I have the color, I'm done. Don't do that yet. So now let's go and add some more brighter colors. So let's go ahead and go with our golden yellow. And now we're going to be coloring just kind of along the tips here, along the just a little bit higher here, just to kind of use a concentration of color. And around the tips of the hair, you want to color you want to use a kind of more of a saturated yellow, and that's just to make it pop out a little bit more. So I like adding it around the edges here of the hair and kind of use it as like a gradient, especially towards the back. And around the ends, I like to add a little bit of that pop of color. Still not done yet. Then we are going to take our, our mango, and then we're going to go in the inner corners and then color that in around the inner corners. This is sort of like our base shadow. This is not exactly just for color. This is also kind of mapping out where our shadow is going to be. So areas, like on the sides of the hair, just to show some form, is good to put in the mango color. And around the center of the head, you can also use this nice color to kind of just show a little bit of the nice gradient that's going to have. You You can even outline a little bit of the highlights here just to kind of make it pop out a little bit more. But shade in areas, you know, like to kind of show value in the hair now. You can start showing that, you know, where the different hair strands are. Here, you know, you can even draw some strands inside. This is what I mean by, you know, adding values using colors. So you don't have to use line work. You can also use color to make your hair more detailed. So area, different pockets of color, it will show. So once we have that kind of nice color set up, we can go ahead and add our darker darks, which you can use a harvest gold for this, and then just kind of start mapping out more hair strands and using those as the shadows. So areas that are denser, like, or kind of just show change in motion, you can use that to apply your shadows. So notice how I added it around here. That's because you have hair strands kind of overlapping on top of each other. So that will create a shadow over it. And by doing that, that will create some depth in the hair rather than just putting a flat, you know, just flat color on it. So areas like here is good, and you can start seeing the different shades of the hair here. And also exactly how many strands she has. So this is just good for values. So adding more intense colors and darker colors will show nice shadows. So adding more lines, adding more value will make your hair pop out a lot more. So once we have more, you know, buildup of colors, it starts looking a lot more, you know, professional and starting to look more colorful. Now let's take our darkest dark, which is our light brown, and then just color in the areas which would have the least amount of light, such as, you know, deeper areas down here and here, and the inner parts of the hair here. So you can see it starts popping out a lot more. You can even add extra strands on top and then blend that in nicely, like so. And just continue along this point. Keep adding strands, using a little bit of darks along the areas where there will be no light. Not really no light, but just more like less light coming through, because there, you know, there's overlaps and there's different shapes, you know, kind of like being on top of each other. So areas like the back part would definitely be very, very dark at this point. So you want to make sure that you separate the light from the dark. You want to make sure your darks are not, you know, all over the lights, and the lights are not all over the darks. That's looking pretty good. I'm also adding a little bit of shading around the back here, because that will kind of create a nice little gradient and contrast between light and dark here. So it kind of just pushes it back. So that is your hair. Let me see if I need to add any other kind of bits of light here. Oh yeah, I can add a little bit of my gel pen here at this point, just, you know, for some nice pop of color. So you can use your gel pen and then just add some nice, you know, nice whites. Of course, you can't really see this when it comes to bright colors like this, but it will look better when it comes to darker colors like blues or and the like. But anyways, that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.